What's up everybody? I'm Coach Zach with Team Criticalbench, and in this video we're talking all about your psoas muscle, what it is, why it's important, and how to treat it and stretch it yourself. Let's get it. Your psoas muscle. Probably one of the most important muscles in your body when it comes to chronic pain and posture. It's also known as the hidden prankster because it can be the source of so many other problems that you may experience. The psoas muscle connects your low back all the way down to your leg. It connects your upper body to your lower body, right? Your psoas muscle connects to each lumbar vertebra, goes all the way down and connects into the lesser trochanter, the medial part of your femur, right? It's also called sometimes the iliopsoas muscle because both the psoas and the iliacus both connect towards the bottom and go and attach to the same point on the femur. Right, we're not talking about the iliacus in this video, just talking about the psoas, but just know that sometimes it's called the iliopsoas. Now, this muscle is very deep, right? It's deep underneath your rec abs, your abdominals, underneath your external and internal obliques. It's deep, and a lot of problems can be found here. A good indicator that you have a dysfunctional psoas muscle is that if you sit for a long time at work, and then you stand up and it hurts and it takes you a while to be able to stand completely upright, take a few steps, that's completely psoas right there. That means you need to work on that. It means it's shortened, it means it's tight. So what are you doing when you're seated? Right? When you're seated, it's in that shortened position. Psoas goes from here to here. So if you're in the seat and you sit for a long time, that muscle is going to be chronically tight. And then when you go ahead and try to lengthen it, try to stand up, it's going to be, you're going to feel it in your low back, right? Psoas, low back pain go hand in hand. Also, digestive issues. If you have digestive problems, there's a good chance that your psoas muscle can be involved. So all right, enough about the psoas, let's get down to treating it. Here's some self-massage techniques that you can start to use today. So to treat your own psoas muscle, you're gonna do this laying down. You can lay down on your bed, you can lay down on the floor, lay down on a table if you have one. So when you're laying down, if your legs are extended, then that psoas muscle is gonna have tension on it. So you wanna bend the knees, bring the feet down flat to the ground. That's gonna give us some slack, all right? So from here, the first part is actually locating the psoas, which could be a little bit tricky, especially if you don't have the palpation skills, right? If you're not used to using your touch, could be hard to find, but I'll try to break it down easy. So right down the middle, you have your rectus abdominis, your six-pack abs, all right? We don't want that. Your psoas muscle is lateral to that, so about 2 inches away from your belly button. All right, so you're gonna kind of move your abs out of the way. If you have a lot of body fat in this area, it might be even harder for you. So you're gonna find a little point where it's a little bit softer and you can go a little bit deeper. Now, a way that you can find if you're in the right place is to put your hand there, relax your abs, put your hand on your thigh, and then try to bring your thigh up. So when you do that, you should feel it jump under your fingers, right? If you're in the right place, it'll do a little jump. That's your psoas. All right, so once you're there, you can kind of feel around, kind of move stuff out the way. Don't forget you have your organs here too. So if you have any deep sensation that's not comfortable, maybe you just kind of back off a little bit. From here, you're just gonna sink. So sink down into it, take some deep breaths, just some light compressions, kind of warming this tissue up, and then work your way straight down. So it's like a line, right? It goes from your lumbar all the way down. So little compressions, some deep breaths there. Make sure you're in the right spot. Again, you can always check by lifting your knee like right there. Big jump, I know I'm in the right place. So you want to work your way all the way down to your inguinal ligament, which is If you find a bony part of your hip right here, don't go past that, right? You got ligaments here, don't want to mess with that. Right? You can treat the attachment of the psoas down here, but it's a lot harder to do it on your own. So little compressions all the way down. Now, once you do that, once the tissue's a little warmed up, you can start to do little frictions, right? So you sink down, and then with your fingers, you just go back and forth with the fiber, and then you could go down and then side to side across the fiber. Across the fiber is always a little bit more intense, so first just start with the fiber. So go down. If your fingers get tired, you can maybe use your knuckles or, work on your finger strength. It's your own body, so own it. Just a little bit with the fibers, work your way down. And deep breaths right down to that inguinal ligament. And then you're going to go side to side. So down, side to side, definitely more intense this way. Side to side, all the way down. Obviously take more time doing this if you're actually doing it. If your fingers get really tired, you can try using your knuckles. It just might be a little bit harder to get in the right spot. Good, so what we did so far is compressions all the way down with the fiber, across the fiber. Now we're gonna do what's called pin and stretch. You're gonna pin the muscle down and then stretch it out. So what you're gonna do, same thing, take your fingers, find that psoas. If you need to again, lift up, it should jump. And what you're gonna do is hold, press down towards the bed or table or floor. And then from here, all you're gonna do is keep that pressure with your hands, don't let up. You're just gonna lengthen that leg. And then you can bring it back, release, maybe bring your hands a little bit further down, make sure you're on the psoas. Same thing, nice and slow, and then back. Find that right spot, nice and slow. And back, working your way all the way down to that inguinal ligament. Nice and slow. And then back. Now, if you know from the anatomy, the psoas goes all the way down to the femur, but this is a really hard place to self-treat and to know you're in the right spot. So definitely go and seek a well-trained massage therapist that knows the anatomy of the body that can help you out. Next, we're going to work our psoas muscle a little differently. In the prone position, you're going to need a soft ball of some sort, right? We want to use a soft ball because there's a lot of organs in this area, a lot of delicate things that can get hurt if we use a ball that's a little too hard. And so stick with a soft ball. I like the Yamuna ball. And obviously the smaller the ball, the more pressure. So you can gauge that. So from here, you're going to take that ball. You want to find that same spot, so about 2 inches laterally from the belly button. Find that spot. And once you find that, you come to your elbows. Just take some deep breaths here. Right? If you feel any kind of deep organ sensations, I know you might not know what that is, but if you feel any kind of sensation that's like doesn't feel right, maybe back off a little bit. Some deep breaths. You can work your way down. Just working on melting into the ball. You can even do some hip rocks, so a little bit of hip rotations while you're on the ball, working the psoas in a different plane of motion, working your way all the way down to that inguinal ligament. Work your way back up. Once you find it too, maybe you just kind of go back and forth a little bit, little frictions on that tight area. Getting those pelvic rotations. And then maybe you come all the way down, maybe a little more intense. Next, we're gonna stretch our psoas, and we're gonna do that in a typical low lunge position with a little bit of a tweak to make sure we're actually getting into those hip flexors, especially that psoas. So in a traditional low lunge, you'll see a lot of times people come down, arch their back so they can get a lot lower, right? Because they think if they get lower, it's a better stretch. It's not really the case. At that point, you're just compressing your low back, and you're really taking the stretch out of the hip flexor. So a good way to fix this is to take a stick, right? PVC pipe, wooden stick, broomstick, whatever it is, and you're gonna bring it back behind you, and you wanna have points of contact. So what the points of contact are is your sacrum, your hips, right? Your pelvis, and you wanna get rid of any arch in your low back. Maybe just enough for your hand to rest there. So just a little bit there, back of your head, between your shoulder blades, right? So just a little bit of a room for your hand, that natural curve. This is gonna avoid you being able to do this. So with those points of contact, breath in, and on your breath out, come down, right? Keep that low back from arching, and then right there. Like I feel that really deep in my psoas. I'm not going as far, right? If I didn't worry about this back, I would just keep going. That's not the psoas. That's me just, see this big arch, see all that space there? Get rid of that. Boom. Right there. Now I'm in my hip flexor as opposed to my low spine. Yeah, you can hold that for 30 seconds to a minute, release that psoas, make sure you do both sides. This next stretch is very similar to that low lunge, but you're gonna have that back leg lifted, right? It's sometimes called the couch stretch, because you can just do this on your couch. You can use a bench like I have here, or any other structure that will allow you to lift that back leg, get a little bit of a deeper stretch. Not only are you getting into your psoas here, you're getting into your quads, you're getting into a lot of other muscles too. So from here, just like a low lunge, make sure you're not arching your low back, right? It'll take the stretch out of where you want it. So keep that tailbone tucked. You can use a stick or maybe bars out in front of you to be able to hold. And then from here, you're just gonna sink down. Sink down. Again, avoid that arch. Don't arch. Keep your core slightly engaged. Deep breaths. And right there. Sit up nice and tall. You can use those deep breaths to help relax the nervous system, create more space in the musculature, open up the fascia. You can hold this for anywhere to 30 seconds to a minute, and make sure you do both sides. Thank you all for watching. I know we covered a lot, but go back and watch it a couple times. Even if you take one or two of the things that we covered and incorporate it into your own routine, you can really take the time to help prevent a lot of problems later on in your life, because the psoas is that important. But before you go, I have something for you. Unlock Your Hip Flexors is a 10-minute routine, very simple. That's really gonna help open up your hip flexors and help improve a lot of things in your life, just like we talked about, right? Your psoas is just one of your hip flexors. It is the strongest and it is the deepest, but you have many others. And this simple routine that only takes 10 minutes can really help change your life. As always, I'm Coach Zach with Team Criticalbench. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and I'll see you next time. Yeah. I have something I want to share with you. Fumble! But before you go, I have something for you.